and we're delighted to have you on this call. Today I'll be also with Nicolas Borgis, our Vice President of Product, and also Joël Serré, dialing from Singapore, and who's the Innovation and Insights Director for eYeka. So we're delighted to have you on this call. We are planning to have more than 60 people attending today. And this call will focus on introducing a new feature we have just been rolling out to our clients after months of development and testing. And this feature is called eYeka Pulse. And the way we'll present this case to you and this functionality will be through a real live case study with one of our clients, Coca-Cola, so that this new functionality becomes really tangible and real to you, and to also show you the ROI that our clients can derive from that functionality. So just before we go into eYeka Pulse, a quick reminder on eYeka for those of you who might not know who we are and what we do. So as a reminder, eYeka is the world's largest creative playground. We host on our site, eYeka.com, a community of 250,000 creative individuals in more than 150 countries. And this community of creators provides ideas and content to brands, basically to help them create better products, better services, build better brands, build relevant experiences to consumers, and also communication. And the way they do that is in the spirit of co-creation, mainly collaboration between brands and consumers to basically do things with people and not just for people. And the way it works currently is mainly through competition. So what you can see on the platform on the bottom left side, you see competition. So for example, the current contest is with Coca-Cola. And these competitions are actually the point of interaction between our community and the brands. And this is the point where they provide ideas to the brands. So how does it work? Typically, a brand will approach eYeka with a question, a challenge, a strategic need that will be typically expressed in marketing or strategic language, so exactly like the output an agency or a market research firm will receive. And what eYeka does is that we will turn that strategic or marketing question into an inspiring brief to our community. And this brief will not require any knowledge from, I would say, marketing or strategic background. This is a brief which is very much understandable by everyone, because the idea is really to unleash the creativity of people and get their ideas to crack the creative challenge. And this brief will be typically very short, in the range of 140 characters, so it's a creative tweet brief with a bit of context to give our community a sense of what the brand is trying to solve for. And then we run a contest, so that's the second step, where basically we run the competition and our creators compete, submit their best ideas, and that's currently in the traditional format, I will say, of eYeka. This is for visual, so either video or graphic design or sketches, animations, PowerPoints, etc., and submit their ideas to the brand, which we moderate, evaluate, curate, and as a last step that we analyze for brands, basically to issue recommendations for the brands going forward. Because, and what you will see with the case is that when you collect 10, 20, 50, 100, and sometimes hundreds of ideas from this community, you have collective intelligence emerging, and basically these people collectively tell the brand a story about where the brand is relevant, resonates with people, and where it can actually go forward in the future. And also, in some cases, also you get what we call gems, which are ideas that the brand may want to implement directly. So that's what eYeka does in a nutshell. And now what Nicolas and Joël are going to do is introduce you to Pulse, which is the most recent development of our platform. And they will do that through a really concrete example, which is how Coca-Cola has been doing it with us.
Hello, everybody. This is Nicolas speaking. So as François mentioned, I'd like to take you through what we did with Coca-Cola and we started back in 2011. What we would like to illustrate is not only this new Pulse functionality, but really take you through what a client, in this case Coke, is experiencing when they engage with us and when they, most importantly, engage with our community. We all know of Coca-Cola, of course, it's one of our iconic brands. What you may not know, interestingly enough, is that as you see on your screen, Coke over the years, the bottle has evolved, and in fact, as early as 1915, Coca-Cola engaged in a contest. Actually, the iconic bottle that we all know originated from a design contest as early as 1915. So it's not that new for Coke to actually tap into the creative pool of individuals worldwide. Now, one of the two important brand promises of Coca-Cola over the years has been that of energizing refreshment. One of the challenge the brand was actually facing when it engaged with us was that it was becoming increasingly difficult for both the brands and their agencies to actually reinvent themselves around these two concepts. And Leonardo Grady, who runs marketing for Coke in Asia Pacific, really came to us and said, how can we not only reinvent ourselves, but also provide both us and our agencies with tangible material that we can use and to become more relevant, appeal to our consumers in our local markets. So it was really the business challenge they had when we engaged with them. Now, as we always do, when we engage with clients, we are faced with a business issue. And this business challenge, we turn it into a creative contest for our community. We turn it into something which is stimulating, something which is engaging, and most importantly, something which, in layman's terms, anyone can understand. Now, what you see on your screen is what the eYeka community saw back in 2011 when they came on the platform. It's basically the translation of Coca-Cola's business challenge into our creative competition. And it was very, very simple. As François said, we want to keep it short. In that case, quite literally, the question we asked our community was, Coca-Cola, the iconic brand, is inviting you to be a part of its celebration as the energizing refreshment. Now, it empowers you to unleash your creativity by showing us how you can interpret Coca-Cola as an energizing refreshment in whatever style or whatever format you like. It can take the form of video, animation, design, illustration, or photo. And that's it. This was the brief. Now, we ran this contest on our platform for a few weeks, and we were overwhelmed by the response coming from our community. We had literally participants from all over the world. Now, how does it work? How can we actually make sense of these entries? So as participants engage on the platform, our community team is here to support and guide them in their native languages and also moderate their entries as they come in. What you see on your screen now is what clients actually see when they review entries. And how do we moderate? Well, basically, as soon as creators come up with their ideas and provide us with their ideas, we review them. And we rate them across 4 criteria. The first one is around narrative. Does it tell a story? Is the media actually taking me somewhere? The second one is quality. And what we mean by quality is quality of execution. Is this a rough? Is this a draft, or is this actually something which is material ready for broadcast? The third one is originality. And when we review hundreds of entries, tens, hundreds, in this case, thousands of entries, there is a point where we can actually say what stands out. And this is how we grade originality. And the last one is relevance. And relevance is not end brand relevance, because we are not the best judges of that, but it's really on brief relevance. Now, these 4 criteria, you as a client decide what are the ones, which is the one that matters most to you. Our community is not composed of professionals, and you may have professionals, you may have amateurs, and what we are really looking for is the marginality that comes out of it when all these people together work on the same brief, on the same challenge, and come up with their individual ideas. Now, you may find that ideas which are poorly executed are the ones which bring you the best idea, or you may want something which is well executed enough that you can actually broadcast on your Facebook page. It's really up to you. In any case, what we will systematically do is review all the entries as they come in and provide you with the ones that we believe are not only on brief, but are really making sense related to your business challenge. Now, if I move on to what you would see as a client once we have reviewed the entries, and in the specific case of Coca-Cola, this is actually a screenshot from our Beyond platform, our client platform. And what you can see is that creatives from 82 countries actually participated in that challenge. This challenge was made available in 12 different languages. It lasted for more than 4 months, which is rather long as far as we are concerned. And more than 2,500 people actually participated. Now, these people provided Coca-Cola with 2,600 plus ideas. Now, this is a very big number. And of course, most of the time you can expect ideas in the range of hundreds. But still, in that specific case, because of the power of the appeal of the brand, and also because of the appeal of the brief, we got an overwhelming response. What you as a client can do when you review the ideas, when you review the entries, is actually browse through countries, gender, and of course, media formats. In the specific case that you see here, I am actually searching for entries which come from female participants living in Hong Kong and which are in the video format. Now, out of the 2,600 entries that we received, Coca-Cola shortlisted a few and also selected winners. They actually built from the ground up a jury of professionals to review all the entries, and the best entries were actually presented to the Cannes Lions Festival earlier last year. Now, for the sake of giving you a way to feel the creativity you can expect from our community, I will just show you a few of these entries. So this one is actually coming from a creator in Indonesia. So you should now all be able to see it. And it basically, the name he gave to this entry is positive energy. And the idea that he wanted to express the fact that when you have a can of Coke, it basically refreshes you and makes you feel positive. As you can see, it's rather very well executed, and it's one way to look at it, I would say. So Indonesia. If we look at another one, which should come on your screens shortly, it's coming from a creator in Hong Kong. The picture was actually taken in Myanmar, and the name of the entry is Catch Me If You Can. And you see monks actually playing football and having, drinking Coke. Supposedly, the monks are actually very taken to Coca-Cola. Yet another way of looking at it and basically expressing energizing refreshment. Now, another one coming from Indonesia has basically looked into pixel art, and the name of the entry is Positive Energy of the Pixel World. And what the creator said is Coca-Cola is being used as a main building of energy resource that basically cannibalizing the positive energy of the pixel world to keep the activity going with a cheerful mood. Yet another way to express energizing refreshment. Now, a very different one coming from Germany, which was basically leveraging the pop art style. And a last one coming from China, which was called Precise Breakthrough. And interestingly enough, what the Chinese creator said is, when I think about Coca-Cola and when I think about energizing refreshments, the buzzwords or the keywords that come to mind are breakthrough, applause, concentration, and this is all being made possible by the energy I get out of Coca-Cola. Now, these are prints. This is graphic design. As we mentioned earlier, we actually asked our community to come up with any format that they saw fit. For the sake of this webinar and the quality of the broadcast, I will not show you videos because basically it may not work due to network latency. But what Coca-Cola has done is they've shortlisted 6 videos. They created a dedicated YouTube channel, and you can see on your screens now the URL where you can actually browse these 6 videos. This one, coming from a creator in New Zealand, won the first prize. And the name of the video is Power Up. And again, the idea of the energizing refreshment is how do you turn a boring afternoon into something much, much better? I invite you after the webinar, if you have time, to quickly browse through the entries. It will give you, I guess, a good understanding of, again, the diversity that you can expect coming from our community. Yet another one coming from UK, and interestingly enough, this short video that our creator provided Coca-Cola with was actually turned into a campaign in Latin America and was presented to the Cannes Lion Festival back in 2012. It's called Positive Science. Again, if you have time, I invite you to browse through these videos. Now, our clients, after a contest, and in the case of Coca-Cola, it took them 4 months, a few months to actually make sense, review the entries and select the best ones and leverage them, usually want to keep the conversation going with the creators. And there are many reasons why they want to do that. Now, what they don't want is to re-engage in another contest. They may want to really, quite literally, ask questions to their community, maybe follow-up questions on some of the ideas that were expressed in the contest, or simply ask for their advice, ask for their opinions, because the sheer marginality, diversity, and a creative intelligence that's coming out of a contest is something that you don't easily want to let go of. And what we have realized over the years running contests is that these eYeka members who are engaged in your brands are literally your community. They are your assets. Within the eYeka community, they are an asset for your brand to leverage. And eYeka Pulse is really all about giving you the opportunity to keep this conversation open. So you can, after a contest, keep the conversation with your community, and you can engage with them in Twitter-like style. You can ask short questions, and your creators can provide you with ideas in 140-character long answers. And you can do that as often as you want. Now, in the case of Coca-Cola, which I have just explained, it took 4 months for our community to come up with 2,600 ideas. Now, if you want to follow up on this contest, or any contest for that matter, it will take you maybe 5 minutes to actually come up with your answer, which we will, again, translate into something meaningful for our community, and it will take our community in the range of 2 to 4 days to come up with 50 answers. So in a matter of a week, in under a week, you can actually ask a question and get answers. And again, you can do that as often as you want. Now, what really matters from our community standpoint is that you acknowledge that they are creative. You acknowledge that whatever they come up with matters to you, makes sense. So in essence, if you award them, if you simply acknowledge that some of their answers actually do make sense, they will feel gratified and the conversation will keep on going. It's not about money. It's really about acknowledgement. It's really about being recognized as a creative. Now, what does it look like from a creator's standpoint? Well, this is a screenshot taken from our website. This is the question that we asked 2 weeks ago, our community. And the question was, what could Coca-Cola do to engage and activate its fans to express energizing refreshment on Facebook? So it was a follow-up question to the contest, and it was, well, something which is, quite relevant for Coke these days. Now, as a creator, when I go on the eYeka website and I have, let's say, 5 minutes to spare, and I see a brand or a topic that matters to me, I reply, because this is my playground as a creator. This is really my training ground, and whenever I have time, I can actually come up with fresh ideas. When I have more time, I can join a contest, and I can provide you as a brand with a visual, with a video. But if I have 5 minutes to spare, I will answer your questions if they make sense for me, if they challenge my creativity. And it's really as simple as that. And we do our best to make it as fun as possible for our creators. In fact, when they have, let's say, 10 minutes to spare, they can answer questions, what we call questions in a row. And they can answer as many questions as they want and be rewarded accordingly. And it's really for them, again, a matter to showcase to you, the brands, that they are creative. What does it look like from the client perspective? Well, basically, here you have a screenshot of what Coca-Cola sees when they log on the client platform. They can review the entries, and they can identify the best ideas, identify those ideas which have been liked internally within Coca-Cola, or which we have liked at eYeka when we reviewed them. And interestingly enough, they can pin their ideas so that they are always handy. They can say whether or not they like the ideas. They can reward the creators. And of course, as creators come from all over the world, in some cases, they can see the translated version of the idea and the original version. In that case, it's an idea coming from Indonesia, so you can see what the Indonesian creator has said in Indonesian, and of course, the English translation. It's all about serendipity. It's all about marginality. So as you review the answers to your questions, you will get fresh ideas. This is for certain. You will not get hundreds of them, but you will get tens of them in a matter of days. I will now hand over to Joël, which will explain for that specific question what came out of it. Joël?
Thank you. So hello everyone, it's Joël speaking from Singapore. So as Nicolas mentioned, so if you are a client and if you receive 50, 100, 200 answers to the question that you have posed through, you have asked for eYeka Pulse, you may not want to go through every single responses and try to make sense of it. So that is where we provide and we offer some very small analysis to our clients, precisely to help them save time and identify what are the most relevant, important, interesting answers coming out from their community. So here, the question was, what could Coca-Cola do to engage and activate its fans to express energizing refreshment on Facebook? So you can see basically from the results, in a couple of days, we got about 51 members who were engaged and who replied. They submitted 52 IDs, so one of them went at it twice. And you can see on the slide basically a rough country breakdown. A lot of people from Indonesia, France, India, but through eYeka, through the eYeka platform, because we have a community that really, because we're really coming from 154 countries, you get answers and viewpoints really from all over the world. So in that instance, we have people as far as Gabon, South Africa, Colombia, China, so very, very diverse type of answers. So if you go to the next slide, Nicolas, if you can just go to the next, flip the next slide, thank you. So the first thing we do when we analyze creators' IDs, suggestions, is we look at commonalities. We look at clusters, topics, themes, and in that respect, what you can see is that a lot of creators, when they responded, they thought of very traditional modes of engagement on Facebook for Coke, such as online competitions, photo, video. So it was actually pretty standard at first glance. So what we do as well, so besides clustering the entries and giving you a quick overview of what are the major themes, if you go to the next slide, you can see that what we did as well is that we look at every single ID and we rank them according to their originality and feasibility. Because here what we are looking for again is tell us something new that we are not already doing on Facebook. Tell us something new, fresh ideas, and obviously it has to be feasible from a marketing standpoint, otherwise then why bother? So we're looking for commonalities, but we're also looking for gems, which are only one person thought of it, but it's a really good idea. You should definitely pay attention as a marketer. So if you go to the next slide. The next slide, please. So basically, analyzing responses from creators, it's looking at clusters, themes, topics, broad trends, but we also look at gems, specific ideas. We try to make sense of them, and we highlight, this is a very, very short analysis, but we highlight the most promising ones. So here, for example, we thought that there were 3 areas that could be of interest to Coke in the context of energizing refreshment and social media, Facebook in particular. The first one was the idea of social currency, which is, for example, to use virtual cans of Cokes as a point system for online gaming on Facebook. And these virtual cans of Cokes could be actually used to be sent as mobile gifts, as tokens. So they become almost coupons that you could send that to your friend, they receive it on their mobile phone in the form of a QR code, a coupons, whatever format that will allow that person to redeem it for a free Coke in a retail place, in a vending machine. So using virtual Coke would almost become the social currency of Facebook. The second area we thought was interesting was on the theme of social refreshment, which is, well, why don't we refresh Facebook, starting with your profile picture? So Coke could be the instigator of a big campaign asking people to change their profile picture to illustrate energizing refreshment, to show that they are energized and refreshed. And some of the ideas from creators in that line of thinking were about creating like a user-generated mosaic where people could submit a lot of pictures in an application that could be shaped almost as a human tree. So Coke becomes the social bond, the social connection that brings all these people together, and that would be shaped as a giant tree made out of people. And what comes out of the tree is actually yielding fruit. And these fruits are cans of Cokes, which obviously reward for participants. So the bigger the tall of the tree, the more fruits, the more rewards. And then finally, another area which was interesting ID-wise was the social recognition. So a lot of creators, on Pulse, a lot of their answers was around, well, give us something a bit more original. Just recognize and acknowledge our contribution as fans, to help you create a great brand online. So if, for example, I have a very, very popular Facebook page and I'm endorsing Coke, I would love to see Coke recognizing that, acknowledging it, and maybe creating a limited edition Coke products that also bear my name and also bear the address of my Facebook page, for example. So again, that's something that could be done on limited editions, a lot of scope for campaigns and promotions, or it could be done on a regular basis as well across a wide range of products where Coke would just decide for a period of 6 months to feature fans, consumers on its products as well. So you can see a lot of, out of the exercise in a few days, we receive over 50 answers, and the analysis actually helped, uncover and unlock very promising and potential ideas that could inspire Coke or their social media agency to come up with better and fresher campaigns. Over to you, Nicolas.
Thank you, Joel. So we've now seen what the experience from Coca-Cola's perspective has been engaging in a contest and engaging in a Pearls question. To wrap up, we would like to show you what the daily experience at Coca-Cola is when brand managers or marketers actually log on the platform. Because Coca-Cola is a global organization and because it has many brands, it is actually likely that across the world people will engage with their communities simultaneously, and actually someone sitting in Argentina may come up with a question which will be relevant to someone working in Russia or someone working elsewhere in the world. And what some brands do may also prove relevant to what other brands are willing to do or considering to do. Now, what you see on your screen is what a brand manager at Coca-Cola sees when they log on. It is actually an inspiration page, and each time they log on, what we want them to see is the number of contests and the number of topics that they have engaged their community with. Most importantly, we want them to see the number of creators within their community which are active and the number of ideas these creators have provided them with. So in the case of Coca-Cola, you see that over 3,500 ideas have come from our community, from their community, to help their brands be basically more relevant. Now, what you see on these screens are literally ideas in many formats. In this case, there is a video and there are answers to questions, which are ideas coming from creators related to either contests or questions that the Coca-Cola brand have engaged their community with. And interestingly enough, again, as most of our clients are global organizations, the other thing we want you to see when you log on is what your peers within your organization are up to. So what you see is what other people, other marketing managers, brand managers elsewhere within the Coca-Cola organizations have actually liked. So it's quite interesting. We want to break silos, and we want to make sure that a good idea does not stay in Argentina if the contest or the question has originated in Argentina, but rather flows across the organization. The other important thing is, as the organization or the brand engage with their communities, at any point in time, we want a brand manager to keep track of the most important contests or the most important topics for them. So as a user of the eYeka platform, what you see on this screen is literally a dashboard where I am actually keeping track of two contests. One is for the Burn brand and one is for the Coca-Cola brand. And I am keeping track also of a question which is live. So at any point in time, I can be reminded of where we stand in the contest or where we stand in the question, and basically browse through, share, pin, like, grade, rate the ideas coming from contests and questions. What you see at the bottom of the screen is a list of all the publicly available contests and questions which I may have access to. And if you look at it, you will see that there are some of them which require me to actually ask permission, and some of them which are literally publicly available, and I can simply browse through and be inspired by the ideas, again, coming from my community. So in other words, it's really as simple as logging in and tapping into the collective intelligence of your own community within the eYeka community. Now, when you have a new business challenge, the way we want you to engage with your community is very straightforward. It's literally a matter of telling us what it is that you want. And tell it in plain English. I mean, we don't ask you to write a brief or to come up with an interesting brief. We really ask you to tell us what it is that you want. And then it will be a matter for Joel's team to turn what you want into something stimulating and engaging for our community. It may take the form of a contest. It may take the form of a question. In any case, we will make it appealing to our community, and depending on the format, you can expect fresh ideas in a matter of days or weeks, but you can always expect new ideas. Now, probably something that matters to most of you is so what for Coca-Cola. So we've taken you through the business challenge, we've taken you through the contest, we've taken you through some of the entries and some of the ideas that came out of it, but so what? And I'd like Joel to walk you through what it is a year and a half down the road that Coca-Cola made out of this contest. Joel? Oh. Have we lost Singapore? Okay, so it seems that we've lost Singapore.
We need to unmute you. Unmute you. It's okay. Drag your life.
Okay, hello everyone. Sorry about that. I was actually muted. It works better when you unmute yourself and present in the webinar. Very simple. These projects actually generated a lot of buzz online. The fact that Coke was really offering first very generous prices and at such an interesting creative challenge really helped Coke and energizing refreshment. This specific sentence really shoot up at the top of Google search engine results. A lot of bloggers, a lot of tweets, so it created a lot of buzz. What was actually more interesting from a marketing standpoint is when Coke shortlisted their favorite videos, they put them to a test, which is called the link test, which is used in advertising to score how TV spots resonate with consumers on several dimensions. And they tested these videos in some sample markets like Indonesia or the Philippines. And several of these videos score, according to Coke and Gilbert Brown, in the top 10% of all best ads in these sample markets for Coke. So these consumer-generated videos actually scored highest than a lot of work that usually Coke produce, through traditional means for the agencies. Interestingly as well is that 2 of these videos achieve top 15% of all-time best ads for purchase intent, for persuasion. So they really, they resonated from a creative standpoint, but they were also very impactful in terms of communicating energizing refreshment and really furthering the brand, building equity and driving purchase. So you remember the initial challenge that Coke had. The challenge was, how do we keep finding new ways to express energizing refreshment from a communication standpoint? Because it's been basically our brand promise for so many years, and we possibly thought of everything we could possibly say and how to say it about energizing refreshment. So these projects provided them with almost like a burst of fresh air with a lot of creative interpretations and a lot of new thinking in terms of communication. It generated a lot of buzz. It worked. It was persuasive, creatively, it resonated with consumers. And what Coke wanted to do as well is to provide materials to their local markets. So what they found is that the materials created by consumers, which is the pictures, the graphic design, the videos, and etc., they achieve 100% adoption against less than 50% on average. So what it means is usually when Coke produce something centrally, at a regional or global standpoint, on average, half of the market use it. The rest say, yeah, thank you very much, I will just do my own thing. Here, they have 100% adoption. Everyone actually use the entries that Coke produced centrally through that context. And obviously, because it is crowdsourced, they achieve tremendous cost-saving efficiencies. They calculate that of 92%. So the number of videos, the number of pictures that they receive at that level of quality, would have costed them, 9 times more if they had to go through traditional production routes. More importantly, if you go to the following slide, please, Nicolas. So more importantly, in the words of Leonardo, again, Leonardo said that this project had a ripple effect in their organizations, in the way they access creative concepts, fresh ideas, because they were stuck after spending so many years communicating around the same platform and going around in circle, coming up with the same concept, the same ideas. They thought that they reached the end. Suddenly, co-creation for eYeka and accessing this community of non-professionals, of people who actually think differently, precisely because they are not marketers, because they are not necessarily representative consumers, open a new door, a new world of seemingly inexhaustible creative ideas. So now they know that they can tap and access fresh creative thinking on demand from all over the world, and they would never get stuck in how to communicate energizing refreshment again. Nicolas?
Yes. So thank you, Joël, and this is François. So in a nutshell, and what you could observe through the case study is that the ROI of co-creation and leveraging the eYeka community, basically, in a nutshell, brands get more ideas and a lot of choice thanks to I would say, mass creativity that is deployed by the community. There is a very strong ROI in terms of relevance and the freshness of the ideas that is proposed, and also the time acceleration is very important, because everything that we showed can actually happen in a matter of weeks, and now with both in a matter of days and if not hours. So in conclusion, eYeka has been doing this through visual contest, which is, I would say, the traditional, the classic format on eYeka, and now with Pulse, this is a great opportunity for brands to basically keep the conversation, keep engaging the community, keep real-time conversation and real-time co-creation to be in touch more than ever with consumers. So thank you very much for your interest and attention. And now we're going to open up to questions. So the first question is, does eYeka get more entries from certain markets and countries? And can we give an average breakdown on which markets and country don't engage very much at present in the briefs? So we mostly look at the contributions more by language, more than country, because typically we're animating the community in 12 languages right now. And so the breakdown pretty much varies per campaign. What we see as a trend is that historically, I would say around half of the entries were coming from the Western world, and the other half from other markets such as the BRICS, with a strong participation from markets such as China, for example. You've seen also Indonesia popping up pretty nicely as a very creative market. Our observation right now is that we're seeing Brazil, Russia being also emerging creative markets, I will say, and becoming a stronger and stronger contributor on the platform. So next question. Okay, so how does it work in terms of cost, and how does it work in terms of copyright? So in terms of cost, Pulse is a subscription product, and the annual cost for the subscription is 12,000 euros, so 1,000 euro per month. And this product is a complement to, I would say, the classic visual challenges that we run on eYeka. So typically, a brand engaging with the eYeka community we'll start with a visual question, so a contest in the lines of what Coke has been doing with us. And Pulse is a perfect tool to continue the conversation, deepen the relationship, deepen some more specific points that the brand wants to have ideas on. And so, so we'll start with a visual brief, and then you'll keep on the conversation and up to your next visual question or video question to a community. Another interesting benefit from being a Pulse subscriber is that the clients who are Pulse subscribers benefit from a discounted rate card on visual questions because of their, I would say, more involved commitment with the community. And so that's an interesting thing to consider when you're actually looking for having a more, I will say, a continuous co-creation happening with communities. And in terms of copyright, so everything is under the legal scheme of eYeka, where actually brands benefit from the right to be inspired by ideas and basically leverage those ideas into their marketing. So everything goes through a pretty strict IP framework that allows brands to have a peaceful usage of the content and fair usage of the content and ideas provided by the community. Another question is about what is the split between professional and amateurs. So just before going into that, a very important thing about the motivation of participants on eYeka is that this is a non-monetary motivation to participate. And people basically have fun and pleasure creating on eYeka, and what they look as a priority for is for great briefs, great question that stimulates their creativity. And so as such, the main motivation is basically the pleasure of creating or creating something meaningful. So the creation in itself is a reward. So as a result, what we observe is that very few people participate on eYeka with, I would say, an expectation to win something. And the prize is more, as Nicolas said earlier on, a recognition of my talent as a creator, and the fact that maybe it will help me in the future actually become a professional at some point. And so in our statistics, what we see is that a very small minority, and I think it's less than 10% of our participants are professional. And the vast majority is either amateurs or will-be professionals, meaning students in design, advertising, film schools, and also people who are freelancers and who are basically taking some of their available creative bandwidth to actually have fun and do things that they think are more meaningful than maybe what they do on their daily lives. Another question is, the entries all seem quite visual. Do you ever ask the community to answer strategic challenges or come up with a leading idea or campaign theme for a brand? So yes, the way we'll do that through is that we will remove, we will make it, I will say, we will make it in the brief to something they can relate with. And what is very important is that this community is strong at designing experiences, or I would say the ideal projected experiences that they think we should deliver to consumers. So, for example, you could ask this community to come up with an idea about a full retail experience from before, during, and after the purchase, for example, or for online experience. The way you will frame that will be typically saying, imagine Lisa, and what will be the perfect experience for Lisa to buy this category of products, and just tell me this story of Lisa interacting with a brand on all the channels through a PowerPoint or a storyboard, and that will be the way of doing it without actually being marketing experts and now the technicalities of building a campaign or a CRM program, for example. Any other questions? So we have a question, how many responses can we expect on average for a Pearls question? Nicolas, do you want to cover that?
So based on our experience, as soon as we engage with the community and launch the question, you can expect the first answers coming in literally within hours. And after 3 to 4 days, you can expect in the range of 30 to 100 answers. You shouldn't expect more than that. And as Joël showcased in the case of Coca-Cola, even with 50 answers, we get gems out of it and very promising ideas. So average would be in the range of 30 to 100. So tens of answers.
And we have a last question. What kind of questions can you ask? Can you ask anything for Pearls?
So, well, basically, you can ask whatever you want, and it will be our job to translate it and make it appealing to the community. It is not a panel, so you shouldn't ask the community whether or not they go shop your product, and they are not a representative sample of your audience. But tell us what you want, and we'll make it our job to actually translate it into something meaningful for them. It can take the form of a question, or sometimes it would be better to run a contest. But in any case, if stimulated properly, the community can come up with fresh ideas and new ways to look at your business challenges.